I'm going to let in the lovely Fran, Promote To panelist, who is going to be telling us all about Penguin. Yay. Okay, so Fran, let me ask you to put on your video, which I think I need to request you to do so it makes life easy for you. Oh, you've done it already.
Oh, yes,
Get
start
out.
video and put myself off of mute. 2 things done.
Amazing, Fran, it's so great to have you here. We do have people dropping in as time goes on already, so that number will go steadily up. It's so great to have you here. Shall we start by asking you to give yourself a little introduction? Who are you? What do you do? And for anyone that may not know, what is Penguin?
Yes, so absolutely. So I'm Francesca. I'm a recruitment advisor at Penguin Random House. So I work in HR, in the HR division, and I manage all entry-level roles across the London offices. So any entry opportunities they'll be posted about, and sort of the recruitment process will be managed by me. So hopefully see lots of names after this week, which will be really great. So Penguin Random House is a publishing house made up of several different divisions. We are the world's biggest trade publisher, and we benefit from the shared resource of being part of Bertelsmann, which is Europe's biggest media group. So we publish books for all ages and interests, and have been doing so since 1934, when the company was founded. So yeah, lots of longevity in the company. And we have 2 London offices, and then we have warehouse and distribution sites in Essex and in Lincolnshire. And we also have an archive site in Rushden as well. So there are lots of different sort of areas of the business across the country. Our motto is we make books for everyone because a book can change anyone, which I really think captures what we stand for as a company. We not only produce physical books, but we have growing ebook teams, and we now have an audio division as well. So we create audiobooks and podcasts from our recording studios in the London office. So the landscape of book publishing is really changing, and there are so many opportunities at Penguin to sort of be involved in this change. We publish books right from picture books within our children's division. You might have heard of Ladybird or Puffin, sort of growing up, they're part of children's. Then we've got young adult books, and then we move into literary fiction, commercial fiction, cookery books, self-help books, groundbreaking memoirs. I'm thinking Prince Harry. So there's something for everyone. So this is true for employees as well. You might immediately think of editorial, perhaps, as a sort of business area of publishing, but we have so many other opportunities. We've got finance, legal, marketing and publicity, sales, HR, production. So there are definitely really interesting areas for people that might not have considered publishing before. It's not just the day-to-day sort of editorial work. There's a real plethora of other opportunities.
Oh my goodness me. First of all, I've got to commend you on the remembering of all of those facts. Like the fact that you remembered what year it was started is phenomenal. And what a great rundown of all of the different things that you publish. Like there is a book there that is published for everyone, a genre for everyone, and also the different departments that operate within Penguin. I think we are quickly finding out, I'm sure everyone who is watching is aware of or agrees with me here, we are quickly finding out that at these companies it's not just about being a kind of editor or whatever. There's also the HR, there's also the legal, there's also the sales in all of these businesses. So that's really great to know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me a bit about your career path. So how did you make it to where you are now? What was your journey from school up to Penguin?
That's a great question. So I left school with A levels at 18, and I did go to university. So I went to the University of East Anglia in Norwich to study American history, but I lasted a term. It wasn't for me. The traditional university life wasn't for me. So I decided that it would be best to leave. And so I got a job in hospitality at 18, and I also worked at the local race course close to me for a little while on race days. So that was really fun. And then at 19, I got a temp opportunity in London for an insurance company. So all completely different to what I'm doing now. But I worked in insurance for about 5 years. I started as an underwriting assistant, and then I moved into the underwriting for sort of commercial business property and liability insurance, all very technical and complicated, but not the right platform for here. But yeah, I did that for a little while, and then decided that it wasn't really for me. During lockdown, I sort of spent a lot of time reflecting, as lots of people did in lockdowns, about what it is that I wanted to do. As I said, I started as a temp, so it wasn't a particular industry that I really wanted to pursue. It's just that I fell into it. And I sort of took some time to reflect on what it was that I wanted to do, and got some recruitment opportunities, and have ended up at Penguin. So I started at Penguin in the recruitment team on an FTC, 3-month FTC, as a recruitment coordinator. So just sort of helping the partners and the advisors on the team for that. And then that got extended, and then I got my permanent position now, which is the recruitment advisor. So I'd really sort of I think temping and sort of the fixed term contract work is a really great way of sort of dipping in and out of industries, trying different things, and it opens lots of doors, as it has done for me. And I think the transferable skills I got from other industries were so important in sort of helping me progress quite quickly at Penguin and in the team that I'm in now. It all happened quite quickly last year, so I've been at the company since April last year. So yeah, sort of doing well with the transferable skills that I got from other areas. That's me. Hope that was interesting.
No, that's super interesting. Okay, so I think the first interesting thing, I mean, it was all interesting, obviously, but the big kind of two big takeaways there, I think that we actually, one of which we touched upon before in other talks, but the other we haven't at all. So I'm glad you brought it up. First of all is you tried uni, but then it wasn't for you. Fantastic. You know, listening to yourself, understanding what works and what doesn't for you is so important. So you're obviously someone that is much better at learning on the job rather than sitting and learning in a lecture theatre. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes, yeah, I'd say that.
And that translates so perfectly into the second great takeaway from this, which is temp work. We have not even touched upon temp work in any of the talks that we've done before. If you are a learner by doing, temp work does actually make a lot of sense to go into it, like you were saying before, try out lots of different industries, start getting loads of transferable skills, and that will very quickly make you very hireable in any industry, in any role, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And as part of recruitment, we see that a lot. So the people that do really well, sort of beyond sort of entry and things, you don't have to start in publishing. You can sort of start anywhere. And that, I mean, transferable skills is when we're looking through sort of the recruitment process, it's really important. Yeah, and temp work is a great way of sort of getting that, whether that's 1 week or 3 months or however long it might be. If it works for you, then I'd recommend it.
I love that. What an amazing idea. I honestly, that hasn't come up at all. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that is absolutely an option out there for people if they do want to go straight into work. And if you are struggling to get a full-time job straight off the bat after leaving school, go do some temp work. Fantastic. Okay, so we want to also find out, did you know that your job existed? So what you do now, did you know that that was something that you could do when you were at school?
So I knew about recruitment. I didn't publishing didn't feel accessible. It wasn't something that I even knew about. I was an avid reader as a child, and so I knew that books existed. But beyond that, I didn't know how it worked, what sort of things went into it, and the fact that that was sort of accessible for me. So I spent a considerable amount of time in the library, in school libraries, and like squishing my face up against bookshop windows, desperately as a child trying to get in. But yeah, publishing wasn't something that I had thought about, but I think that there's sort of a lot of work that's happening within our recruitment team, and wider. So we've got employer brand, the wider HR team, and then the business as well, to make sure that sort of publishing is as accessible as possible. And we want to make it clear that there are opportunities for everyone here, in the same way that we publish books for everyone. And so I actually initially wanted to be a journalist for quite a long time, till I was about 17, and then decided that it wasn't sort of really for me. But I guess that interest in the written word and the English language and sort of writing has always been there. But yeah, I'm just really sort of fortunate that that I have found this passion and interest for the publishing sort of world. It has always been there, because I have been an avid reader, but it's not something that I thought about pursuing at sort of 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's so interesting. But yeah, something like kind of wordy you were always fascinated by. But I guess at that age, you may have just kind of only really been aware that journalism was an option. It was kind of the only option that you thought you could do really with words,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the publishing industry is there for anyone who might be thinking about anything to do with like being an author, being a journalist, any of those kind of actual practices of writing. You might also be interested in the publishing industry as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I would also say that you don't have to, if you don't feel yourself aligned to the editorial work, as I said before, there are so many other opportunities. So I love being around books, but I'm not part of the process of editing or, creating them. I don't work in production, that kind of thing. So there are opportunities if you just have that interest, or even if you don't, we're open to everyone.
Oh, well, absolutely. And like you said before, there are so many other areas, like sales, like recruitment, or the people side of things. There's all these things, but also you've also, you're doing things like audiobooks, podcasts, stuff like that. So it might be that people, might affiliate themselves a bit more with, the listening side of stuff. This might also be an industry that you could be interested in. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, and we're going to go to the question about if you were 16 again, what would you do differently, or what would you double down on? What's your advice to your 16-year-old self, basically?
Yeah, great question. I had a bit of time thinking about this one. I think I was concerned at 16 that I didn't have it figured out, that there wasn't sort of a career path that was really clear for me. And I think that there is a sense of panic at that stage. You're picking GCSEs, you're picking A levels, whether you want to go to university or not. You have to start thinking about that at quite a young age. And so ultimately, I would say not knowing is okay. You might have people around you that want to know that they want to be a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or something. If you don't know, don't panic. I think my career path is really squiggly, and ultimately, I'm in an industry now that I really care about, that I love. But it's taken me some time to get there, and the skills that I've picked up along the way, the people that I've met, have been really interesting. And so I guess if you are 16, I think I would go back also and tell myself, just don't panic. That there are so many opportunities around, and it's okay that if you haven't got it figured out yet, that will come, and it takes some time. If you know what you want to do, amazing. If you don't, then there's time to figure it out.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what this discussion is about, really. Like the whole event series is, you don't have to decide now what you want to do. We're just equipping you with as much information about the options that you have, so that when the time comes eventually, hopefully, you can make a bit more of an educated decision. Exactly as you said. I love that. That's really good advice. So tell us a bit in our final couple of minutes, if you can, about all of the opportunities that Penguin has, to help young people get into the publishing industry. So any apprenticeships or internships you might have available, where they might look for entry level roles, but also if you have any programs or events open to young people who might be interested in just like learning a bit more, gaining a bit of experience.
Yeah, so we're really keen to get different perspectives into the company. So we have a huge range of different entry level roles across the business. I mentioned sort of some of the areas before. Many of the roles are the assistants for the team, so they're the support for the team, and they're such key positions within the company. Yes, so we're really keen. We want early careers talent to be applying for this roles. So we're really excited about platforms like this that get that interest. So it's fantastic exposure at entry level to the rest of the business, and there's no pressure really to decide that that's definitely the business area. Lots of people move around and try different things. So yeah, keep an eye out on sort of our careers page. I believe it's Penguin Random House careers.co.uk is the website. So they're slightly different from the general Penguin Random House UK sort of books website. And so we post all of our roles onto there, and then we put them onto Twitter as well. So if you follow the careers Twitter page, they all go on there. Then we run a work experience program throughout the year. So the window for applications is open multiple times, and these are 2-week placements. There's no CV or cover letter application process for this, so they're chosen at random selection. We get more interest than places, so you're not guaranteed a place, but they're an incredibly sort of valuable experience, and we get lots of great feedback from them. And then we have our summer internship program. So the application for these opens every spring. And again, not a CV or cover letter application, but we do have a question and answer process. So we require applicants to answer questions around the key competencies, that potentially that could be something like communication skills. And then the answers are anonymized, and then our teams mark them. So that's upcoming in the next few weeks. I'm very excited about marking those. We shortlist candidates to interview, and then we have 9 placements but across 8 weeks across the summer months. I believe it's July and August. This is hybrid as well. So there are some requirements to come in a few days across the 8 weeks into the offices, but there's hybrid working options as well for that. So if you're interested in potentially doing an internship in the summer, and more information on the application window is sort of coming and in the next few weeks, I believe. So that will be on our social channels and our careers website as well. And the applications will open soon for that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Fran. So all of those links, I will gather all of those from you afterwards in an email, and then I will make sure to send them out to absolutely everyone. So all of the schools listening, all of the young people listening have everything that they need in order to apply to the work experience, the summer program, and also those entry-level jobs if they're ready. I know that many teachers across the country will be singing with joy at the sound of work experience, because I know that they find that particularly hard to find. So thank you so much for your time. We're gonna have to move on to the next speaker now, Robert, but it's been so lovely chatting to you. Really good to know about your career background as well. The temping bit of information there has absolutely blown my mind, so I'm sure lots of people listening will feel the same. Thank you so much for all of
Thank you so much. Bye bye everyone. See you.
Bye.